I'm going to take you through my everyday makeup routine. Hopefully, I'm going to be fairly detailed because sometimes I feel like when people are taking you through their routine, they don't actually go through step by step what's going on, why they're doing it, all of that. So let's get into it. I am not always great about washing my face at night. So that being said, I do try to at least cleanse in the morning. So sometimes I'll go over with micellar water and just clean everything up. I've already done that. We're going to dive into the next step. Depending on how I'm feeling today, I'll typically go in with some sort of serum or something. Today I'm just going to use the watermelon niacinamide glow drops from Glow Recipe. I really honestly I don't know that I see a difference when I use this or when I don't, but I love the way that it feels on my skin. I think it feels like really, really nice, and makeup does sit really well on top of it. So who am I to judge if you want to use it? Plus, I think we all know that there's those products that everybody really just loves, and it's because they love the experience. It's not necessarily because they love the product. So that's what this one is for me. All right, so after I've gotten that on, depending on how my skin feels, I will typically go in with my other products. I do try to always put on serums before I put on my sunscreen. This is the one that I've been using because I'm seriously obsessed with it. I hate the feeling of sunscreen. I know some people really like it. I hate the feeling, the experience, all of that of sunscreen. So I love this stuff because it's really lightweight. It smells good. It doesn't smell super sunscreeny. I don't feel like I'm putting a pound of sunscreen on my face. It also doesn't break up weird or pill under my makeup. The only thing is, it is in a dropper container and it's kind of obnoxious. To get like a full dose, if you will, of sunscreen, you have to do like 4 drops of it, which is kind of a pain because only that much comes out. You'd think that they would rethink that. I kind of wish it was just in a squeezy tube because that would make a lot more sense to me. Anyways, if you want to learn more tips and tricks about doing makeup or skincare or just all of that in general, that is what my channel is about. I am a cosmetologist. I've been doing that for almost 10 years. I've also taught cosmetology for about 6 years now. So I do have a decent amount of insight into skin, hair, nails, just in general, and that is what my channel is about. So if you're interested in that, please like this video, please subscribe. I'm hopefully going to be bringing out more content to you every single week. So after I've got my sunscreen on, next I like to go in. Sometimes I use a primer, sometimes I don't, depending on how my skin is feeling. My nose tends to get really oily. The rest of my skin is dry. Today, I think I'm going to use a primer because right through here, I think I need it. So this one is my favorite. Don't judge. It's expensive. I bought this last one. I bought on the Sephora sale because I really do love it that much. It's the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. So I'm just going to go in. Like, I clearly use this stuff a lot. Even though it's expensive, I really, really love it. I don't think, sometimes people say that priming is a very important step. I think that priming doesn't necessarily matter. People get so caught up in using a primer, and I think that it really depends on your skin's needs and what you're going for. Typically, my skin is on the drier side, so I find that if I moisturize really well, a primer isn't all that necessary and can actually be a weird extra step that doesn't do anything. Now, I know oily folks out there are going to disagree with that because I've heard that other people say that they really need a primer. That's great. Not a judgment here. But like I said, my skin tends to be on the drier side. So actually, after I've gotten my skin prep done, I actually always start with my eye makeup first because I find that I do like my skin to kind of settle down, do all of that before going in with the rest of my face makeup. So that's what I'm going to do. So I always start my makeup with putting a little bit of Coty Airspun powder on my eyelids because my eye makeup does not stay all day unless I powder them and then put eye primer on them. I was telling you that my skin is on the dry side. It is. And technically, I would probably be considered combination, but I always say that I have dry skin because oily skin products do not work on me. In fact, my skin rejects a lot of stuff like that. So you have skin like mine, so like my nose gets oily, but my eyelids, literally, if I don't prime them like this, my eyeshadow might last an hour. That's it. So I always powder them with some Coty Airspun powder, and then I go in with an eye primer. There are a few that I like. We're going to go in with the Photo Focus Primer by Wet n Wild. I really like this one. My 2 favorites are the Urban Decay one and this one. I am kind of hating the packaging of the Urban Decay one because it drives me nuts that it's not a squeezy tube. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I don't know about you guys, but does the jewel always break on your Urban Decay primer? Because mine always breaks. Drives me nuts. I don't understand it either. So after I've got that on, then I'll go in with my eyeshadow. This is, trust me, if you have super oily eyelids and you find that nothing you do makes your eyeshadow last, try priming your eyes this way. Powder first, then a little bit of this. It is a lifesaver for me. So I love eyeshadow and I love changing things up with eyeshadow. However, I'm going to just keep things simple today. This is the Huda All Matte Warm Palette. I love this thing. So I'm going to first go in with this guy right here. Sometimes I like to start with the mid-tone and then work up and work down from there. So if I'm looking off screen, it's because I've got a mirror right here. I'm going to start there and really start to build things up. Just like packing it in. I'm not worried about this looking pretty because, first of all, part of the reason I start with my eye makeup rather than my foundation is that I can wipe any mistakes away. Second, I hate it when there's like fallout and I have to worry about that afterwards. It drives me nuts. So I just don't. I honestly typically will use like 1 to 2 brushes on a makeup look unless I'm doing something really elaborate or something like that, because I hate cleaning my brushes. So I use that slightly lighter and I'm going to kind of bring it in right here too. One thing with this technique, if you're using just like one brush, if you want it to be way lighter than the first color you put down or way darker than the first color you put down, you probably do want to use a different brush. So like right through here, I'm going to want to use a different brush because I want to make sure that this all gets blended out. But for a lot of it, I'll use the same brush because I don't want to clean a bunch of brushes. People act like I'm crazy when I say that, but trust me, it makes very little difference. Okay, so now I'm taking this Sigma brush. Things look a little bit messy right through here. Something that people do a lot is they'll start trying to really buff that away. Just add a little bit more product. So you would take a little bit of like a close to skin tone shade. It doesn't actually have to be skin tone. Like if I'm using a pink palette or something, I'll use a lighter pink. If I'm using a green tone palette, I might use a lighter green. But basically, this is going to be the lightest color in your palette. Sometimes when I don't have one, I'll grab one from another palette, but that's one of my least favorite things to do because then I have to use another palette. But do you see how that just like disappeared? All of my lines, I don't have to worry. Like that's why I don't stress when I have crusty, dusty lines all over the place because I know that I'm going to go in and fix them. And it's going to be a really easy fix. So there's no reason for me to stress about that right up front. Next, I'm feeling like I do want a little bit of darkness right through here. So I'm going to take that same brush that I used earlier, use my makeup switch. I'm thinking those are the 2 brushes that I'm going to use today. And go in this darker color. So these Huda palettes, they do have 2 cream shades. One of them is this guy. The other one is this one. Cream shades are trash. Ooh, it's like Huda tried to possess my body and stop me from saying that. The cream shades in this are trash. They're no good. I still love the palette, but the cream shades, if you like cream shades and that's why you're wanting to buy this palette, don't do it. They don't pick up with a brush, period. You can pick them up with your finger, but I actually hate applying makeup with my finger because because then I have makeup all over my finger and I hate having to worry about cleaning that off. So shimmer colors, I don't wear shimmer colors all that often, although I've been trying to branch out and do that a little bit more. But even shimmer colors, I hate putting them on my skin, so I try not to. I'm feeling like this side's a little bit darker, so eyeshadow is one of the only times that I'm like, oh, it's not blending, add more product, because that really is the trick to like a good blended eyeshadow look, is if it's not moving around anymore, grab a little bit more. So like I said, I put some more on here, but now my line is a little bit back. And I feel like this could be simplified, but this is a fairly simple everyday makeup routine that I try to follow. Like I'm the person that puts on makeup and does not want to touch it for the rest of my very long 16-hour day. And I typically won't. Like I'll touch up lipstick, maybe powder, and that's it. I try not to touch anything else up. So I think we're doing good. I'm going to go in just a little bit with that light color and pop it towards the center. But like I said, I hate touching up my makeup and I just won't do it. So for an everyday makeup look, eyeshadow, done. These are the two brushes that I use. Technically it's 3 because this one's double-sided, but there's not really a need to pick up 15 different brushes and have to use them all. I will reuse the same brushes. And now that I do that, I typically will go in with my brows. Lately, and the past few months, I've changed up my brows quite a lot, but lately I've been really enjoying this Rare Beauty brow powder, and I actually have been using this brush a lot too, but I got the brown one. I probably should have gotten the black one because my brows in all reality are very close to black, but I didn't, and I think that this one still works decently. So I won't typically do all over my brow. Typically I'll do just an underline and maybe put a little bit towards the front, just because I want to make sure they're defined. And after I've gotten that done, you guys, I used to take so much longer on my brows. This is one of the fastest parts of my step. The NYX brow glue is what I have been using. It doesn't have as good of a hold as I like, but I like that it's really quick and that I don't have to try to use another spoolie or try to use another brush, because I find that brow products gunk up a brush really badly and I hate having to clean that out. I feel like we're seeing a theme. I hate cleaning makeup brushes. I hate cleaning a brow brush or having to worry about a spoolie. So again, not the best hold, but if I'm trying to spend a little bit more time, normally I'll do the e.l.f. brow set or the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow freeze. I like both of those, but for a quick look, typically this is what I'll go for. All right, I know I've got some craziness going on right here, but again, haven't done my face makeup, so I can go through and just do a quick and take care of most of that, and my brows and eyes are done, which didn't take that long. All right, now we're going to go in with foundation. So I am going to use a slightly dirty beauty blender, but the last time I used this, I used this same foundation. So again, not that worried about it. I'm going to use the Pat McGrath Sublime Fetish foundation. I actually don't love this stuff, but I've been trying to use it more and just kind of test it out and see final thoughts, because my first impression of it was, wow, that's an orange foundation. That's literally the first thing that I thought, and I was really, really frustrated that it was so orange, because just because I'm brown don't mean I'm orange. And I don't know, maybe other brown ladies speak up, but do you find that to be the case too? If it's a brown foundation, it tends to be really orange. Not sure why that is. Get it together. But we're going to blend that out. I know that people say less is more with foundation, and while I do agree, I think that sometimes people try to take it too far and say that they oh, I only need 1 pump, or I only need half a pump. And I'm like, girl, typically I'll do 3 pumps. I'm no Meredith, but typically I do about 3 pumps to get a certain amount of glow and a certain amount of coverage. I don't think that looks crazy. It looks nice. You can disagree with me, that's fine. Next, I will typically do some sort of concealer. Normally I'll do an under eye corrector and a concealer. I'm not going to do that today because the one that I have is orange for my blue, purple dark circles, and that foundation is orange. So that's going to be my color corrector. So I'm going to use this Pat McGrath Labs concealer. This stuff is pigmented, so I'm going to be extra careful not to get too terribly much. Things are going to be looking crazy. And I'm just, in general, trying to highlight my face. So someone was talking the other day and they were like, do you guys know the difference between a highlight and a highlighter? And I was like, thank you. Because to me, I do want to highlight my face, create those high points, low points, bring attention to certain parts of my face. But I don't necessarily want shimmer in all of it. I want shimmer here and maybe a little bit. I don't want shimmer on the rest of my face. Well, highlight is typically what most people use concealer for, in addition to under eyes and covering spots. Highlighter is that blinding glow that you sometimes get from certain products. Really pretty, but again, they're different things. I'm going to show you just how pigmented that is. That was 2 dots, and I'm like, blend, blend, blend. I hate that. I hate that that's a thing. That blinding coverage that just offered. Wow, this is not a good concealer day. I feel like everything is not blending out great. Oh well. Again, this is an everyday makeup look. This isn't me necessarily like going out of my way to do something crazy. Although I will say, typically my eyeshadow is dramatic. I do tend to do fairly dramatic eyeshadow because I like the way that it looks. This next product is the e.l.f. Halo Glow. Now, this is a way too dark shade for me. I thought I hated the e.l.f. Halo Glow until I bought this and tried it out as a bronzer. Now, again, pigmented. But this stuff lasts all day. It creates a really pretty, like, bronzy contour. And I really love the way that it looks. So we're going to put that on, blend it out. Again, I only did a little bit because this is an everyday makeup look. And I don't want you guys to be like, wow, that's a ton of product. Because I don't actually wear that much on a daily basis. I mean, I do. I wear a lot of makeup, you guys. But not typically to the point where you can see it. Unless I walk out, haven't looked in the mirror, and then realize under the fluorescent lights that it's not great. Sometimes that happens. Like, you know, when you are at the store or something and you look in the mirror and you're like, holy crap, why didn't someone tell me that my contour isn't blended? That happens to me every once in a while. Do you see how little I put on? This stuff lasts all day. And it does look a little bit crazy, but we're going to use our Booty Bender, tap out the edges. I'm telling you what. The e.l.f. Halo Glow is just chef's kiss, best bronzer ever. Like, I don't actually like it as a highlight, but I really like it as a contour. So typically after I've gotten that covered, I'll do some sort of blush. I've been playing around with using different blushes. So lately I've been using this LYS blush. I always use a cream product and then I set it with a powder. Always. I've done that for years because, like I mentioned before, I want to put my makeup on and leave it for my 16-hour day. I don't want to have to deal with touching up makeup all day long. And I think that most people don't. Like, show me a person that actually wants to be reapplying their makeup throughout the day when they're busy doing other things. So I think that's fairly common. So typically I'll go in with a blush, tap that in, and I do like using a brush for my cream brush because then I can like tap it in, and then if I have any excess, I can tap it out with the sponge just like what I did with the contour. Things are looking decent. So now we're going to set all of our products with a powder. So fairly certain I'm a sucker because I bought this Gucci bronzer. I like it. I don't know that I love it, but that's what I've been setting my e.l.f. Halo with, and it sets beautifully. It is very soft. I really do like how that went on today. Sometimes I really like it and sometimes I hate it. Honestly, if I find myself reaching for a product a lot, that's how I know that I really like it. And I have been using this one a lot, but mostly because I was like, I spent a ton of money on it, so I kind of have to use it. Apparently, I'm just using a lot of Pat McGrath today. None of these products actually matter. What matters is the order, because I change up my products all the time, but I'm going to use this blush from Pat McGrath because it's a really pretty combo with the LYS. So we're going to set that in place, looking decent. Now I'm going to go in with, there's a lot of highlighters that I love. I'm going to use this Pure Nude one because I'm going to go for a more subtle look. I think that's more of the norm for people. This stuff doesn't look like a highlighter until you put it on. The nice thing about this one is you can really build it up. So if you want a subtle glow, you can do that. See, subtle. But you can also kind of make it a blinding highlight, and it's the thing that I really like about this stuff. Like, it's not blinding enough for you, add a little bit more. Really like that. Here's what I'm thinking. So next, I have to set my under eyes because otherwise they get a creasy mess, and they're already starting to crease. So I'm gonna tap that out. Set that. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know I love the Pat McGrath Sublime Perfecting Powder. I only use this for my under eyes, but it looks so pretty on your under eyes. So I'm not going to set with a powder today because my skin, I feel like, would reject that today. But most of the time I would, and I always spray everything with a setting spray. So we're going to use the MAC one because That's the one that's sitting right here. And yes, I do douse my face like that on a daily basis, but then I can kind of fan everything out and like press any powder into the skin. This isn't actually my favorite setting powder. I am trying to use it up though, because I think that's important. So I feel like we're feeling pretty good about that. I am going to just use whatever's left over on this brush, pinch it. I know I set my face, but sometimes I feel like my under eyes are a little bit naked and they need that. Adding that. Then we're going to go with an everyday lip. Now, I hate it when people are like, I do this and then this and then this and then this, and like act like that's normal. Like, no one does 5 steps for their lips. So I have been loving this combination lately of the ColourPop Lippy pencil. It's pretty long lasting, and I also just think I really like this color because it's a very pink mauve shade, and that just tends to be the shade that I am drawn to most for lips. I don't know, when I try to do like a tan nude lip, you guys, I look like I have concealer lips. Unless you have a suggestion for that, keep on walking because this is what I got. So typically I'll do that. Normally, and I'm just telling you guys this because this is my everyday makeup look. Normally I will just tuck this in my pocket for touch-ups throughout the day, because this is the one thing that I do touch up throughout the day. But I am feeling like it's a lipstick kind of day. So this is the Tower 28 lip gloss. It looks really pretty over this. I will say, although I don't do 5 steps in my lipstick part, I do normally do a lip liner and then some sort of lip, whether that be a lipstick, a lip gloss, a lip something. So normally I will do 2 things. The lip liner just makes it last longer. And so I feel that I have to do that step. That's an everyday, fairly quick makeup routine. You can kind of spice it up with different kinds of products. I think that the product doesn't matter as much as it matters that it works for your skin and that it's a good match for your skin, that you like it, that you feel beautiful, all of that. So try not to think that the products are that important, because they're really not. If your favorite ever is the Maybelline Lifter Gloss, use it. I don't think that you should have to spend, I think this is way too expensive for a lip gloss. Use what you have. I just happen to be a makeup junkie, and so I have everything. Oh my gosh, you guys, I forgot mascara. I do always put on mascara. I am not someone that puts on false eyelashes every day. Let me just pop on some mascara and then we'll be back. This is my favorite ever mascara. It's the Maneater mascara. Right now I have a travel side because it's my backup, and I ran out of my larger one. It's seriously my favorite. Like, when people say they don't like it, I'm like, get out. It doesn't smudge on me. It doesn't flake on me. It lengthens. It never really looks clumpy. Normally I'll do 2 coats, and normally this is not my last step. I just got so distracted with talking to you guys. Now that I've got mascara on my eyes, I think that the products aren't that important. I think that the fact that you look beautiful, the fact that the routine works for you is really the most important part. This is what I do for an everyday makeup routine, but use your favorite products. I feel like I'm all for capitalism and all of that, but I feel like we live in a society where we feel like we have to buy the next great thing. And I will say I fall into that sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I really, really want to try this product, and so I do. Do it because you want to, not because someone told you to. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed an everyday makeup routine from me. Thanks for watching. Bye!